Hey guys, we're starting chapter 1, Tools of Geometry. So we're getting into some real geometry now. Chapter 0 was more of a review for us. So this is 1.1. We're talking about points, lines, and planes. So the example is on the right side here. Your plane is your X and Y axis. So please look at this side. So your plane is your X and Y axis, and on the plane we had points, right? And sometimes we would have more than one point, and we connect them to create a line, right? So, going through our first example, or our first definition here is a point. So a point is a location. It has neither shape nor size. An example of a point is this guy right here. It literally has a point and is a capital letter. Our next definition here is a line. All right? A line is made up of points and has no thickness or width. So this is an example of our line. It's written as line M. Or we can say lines P and Q, or we can just have the P and Q with a line written over it with two arrows going left and right. You can also write it vice versa. You can say lines QP, or we can say QP with a line on top of it. Okay. So there's a bunch of ways to write this line here. Our next definition is a plane. It's a piece of paper. Okay. A flat surface made up of points that extend indefinitely in all directions. So this is actually plane K right here, okay? That's not actually a point, right? So we call this plane K, or we can use 3 points on this plane in any order you want. So we have plane BCD, plane CDB, and so on and so on, right? Doesn't matter what order you have them in, as long as you have 3 points, and they have to be 3 points. They don't have to be connecting. They don't have to be in the same line, okay? All right. Our next definition is collinear points, or points that lie on the same line. Okay, so like these points here, they lie on the same line. Collinear, right? They also have the same slope, you can kind of tell. Non-collinear points do not lie on the same line. So point D, it does not lie on that same line. So that is non-collinear. Okay, so in this figure, points A, B, C are collinear. Right, and we can say even like points A, B, D are non-collinear. They're not in the same line. So basically, point D is non-collinear to points A, B, and C. Okay, with all those definitions of, once again, a plane, a point, a line, what's collinear, what's non-collinear. Hopefully, it kind of makes sense and it's not too much for you guys. We're going to start with example 1A. So in example 1A, take a look at that figure. Okay. This is plane P. It's a piece of paper. So we're going to identify some few things here. You know, you don't have to write this if you don't want to, but it helps. So we can say like plane P, it's like a piece of paper, right? And we can say line N is like a string on the paper, right? And then we could say line R is like a pencil that goes through. Pencil through paper, we're going to call it. Okay, so how do I know what was what? Well, this here is in italics, and this is in italics, and it's actually not a point, right? So, piece of paper, plane P, we have a string on here, line N, right? And line N has a bunch of points, and we have a pencil R, that goes through the paper at point X. You can kind of see that already. And, you know, the pencil also has another point T on there. Okay. So that's just a basic overview. Really imagine a piece of paper, guys. If you imagine the piece of paper with a string on it, and then, you know, like a pencil going through it, it makes it a lot easier. If I was there, I would show you a 3D model of it. But I can't be, sorry. So let's start with example 1A. Okay, so it says use a figure to name each of the following. Name a line containing point W. So a line. So we're talking about this guy right here. A line containing point W. We're talking about this point right here, okay? There's many ways to write this line. So we can straight up just say line N if you want, right? Then we can use any 2 points on that line. It has to be on that line to say that it contains W. So we can say VW, lines VW with the line going over it. We could say VX, right? Because it has W in it. We could say VY because it has W in it. You know, there's a bunch of these, right? We could say WX, right? WY or XY or even WY, right? There's a bunch of them. You only need to label one because it says a line. Okay, let's move on to the next one. A plane containing point X, right? A plane containing point X. All right, I want you to talk with your neighbors to figure out what you think it is. Okay, a plane containing point X. Okay, this point right here. All right, there's only one type of plane here, but we can write it in many different ways. So we can straight up just say plane P, right? That's has point X on it. All right, we can say plane and use any 3 points on the plane, any 3 points. So plane VWX, right? We can say plane, and we just need 3 points. VZY, right? I don't know why I put this comma here. We don't need this comma here and here, okay? There's 37 ways to write this plane that contains point X. The only point you cannot use is point T, because point T is not on the piece of paper. It's not on the plane. So any 3 points, okay? And then I want you guys to try C and D. Go ahead and pause it. Talk with your neighbor and what you think a plane containing points T and Z are, and then a line containing point T. All right, by now you should have done that. So a plane containing points T and Z. So there's no piece of paper that goes through this guy. That doesn't exist, right? So there is none. There is no plane. They're not in the same plane. T is not even on the plane P, right? If T was on the plane P on the piece of paper, then yeah, we can say the plane that intersects them is plane P. But no, right? Remember this Z here? It's like a spot on the piece of paper, just a dot. That's all it is. And then we'll go into D, a line containing point P. A line containing point P. We have 2 lines going on, okay? We got the one that's on the piece of paper, we call that the string, line N, and we got this line right here, right? That's going through the piece of paper, we called it the pencil. So, a line containing point T, it has point T on it. Well, point T is only on line R. So, that's what we'll say, line R. Alright, I hope this made sense. Definitely look at this figure in a 3D way, 3D model, because that's what it basically is. Okay, let's move on to example 2 here. In example 2, so it says name the geometric term modeled by the objects in the picture. So we have it's a cork board, and on the cork board we have something pinned to the wall of it. This guy right here. Okay, so we're gonna label each thing. The push pin or the thumbtack. How does that hold up on the chalkboard? What's holding it there? At what point? How about? At point G, right? That's how it's holding up using common sense and a little bit of gravity there, right? That's how it's holding up. A cardboard models. So the card border of this is talking about this guy right here. So we'll say lines GH. We can even say the bottom part here, right? Lines FJ. Okay, and then the edge, okay? This is the edge right here because it contains both the top and the bottom and also the right side. So, the edge, and it's at the corners too, right? Edge. So this is going to be lines HJ, right? Lines HJ. Don't forget to put the lines on top of it. I know some of you guys will forget in the beginning, but we really need to put those lines on top of it, okay? And the card itself, so the whole plane, the whole card that's on there, we can say plane, and you can use any 3 points on here. I'm going to say plane FGJ, right? There's no math involved with this. You guys just got to use your imagination a little bit and be able to count all these things correctly and see where they are. Okay. Let's go to these definitions here. So we have 2 lines here. Okay, we got lines L and we have lines M, and they intersect at points P, right? P represents the intersection of lines L and M. We look at the next one here. We have plane A, the green one, and then we have plane B. They slide right through each other. They intersect at are. Okay, lines are. Lines are represents the intersection of the planes A and B. Okay. Alright, this brings us to our next example here. So we got to draw and label a figure for each relationship. So the first one is not so bad. So it says lines AB and CD intersects at point E. Okay, so we're going to plot all these points. So AB is a line, and then CD is also another line. But they give us the coordinates for A and B and C and D. So let's start with A and B. A and B, -2, 4. That's A right there. And then B. B is 0, -2. That's a line. So we got to draw a line through them. Or I'm going to find the slope of this really quickly. How do I get there? So it looks like I'm going to rise up 3, 1, 2, 3, and rise 1. And then rise up 1, 2, 3, and then go over to the left 1. You don't have to write this out. So another point here would be right there. I want to make this a little thicker. So that's lines A, B. Now let's do the next one. C and D. -3, 0 right here. That's C. And then D, 3, 3 right here. And let's kind of count. How do we get there? The staircase. Looks like going up 1 to right 2, up 1 to right 2, up 1 to right 2. Okay, cool. All right, so make a staircase of points here. And there is our other line. Let's label D as well. Right? And it says they intersect at points E. So this is point E right there. Okay? Looks cool. All right, we have our last sentence here. It says point F is coplanar, which coplanar means it's on the same plane. That's all it means. It's on the same plane with these points, but not collinear. So it cannot be on points AB through AB, lines AB or CD. So we can randomly put wherever we want points F that is not on the line of AB or CD. There it is. And we're done with this guy. Okay. All right, let's move on to part B. And I want you guys to try this. Okay. You're going to draw something out. We don't need an X and Y plane here. But it says lines QR intersects planes T at point S. Okay. I'll start you guys off. And we'll draw a 3D figure here of plane T. Okay. This is plane T. And I want you to draw lines QR that intersects plane T at point S. Give it a shot. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line that intersects it. Intersects it right there. Okay, and I'm going to draw this dotted line for behind it. Then solid, because we can see it now, right? So we have this pencil that goes through it, QR. Okay, and it intersects at point S. So let's read it again. Lines QR intersects the plane T at point S. Okay, I hope you guys did this without my assistance. So, give it a shot. On your homework, you're gonna have to do a couple of these on your own. So read it a couple times. Okay, so example 4. I want you guys to pause this and try to do this all on your own. All 4. It's okay if you mess up. Work with a partner, give it a shot. When you're ready, unpause this and see how I did for you guys. So pause it, give it a shot. Okay, by now you should have finished it. So it says, how many planes appear in this figure? So how many pieces of paper does it take to create this? Okay, if you didn't have to cut it out and you had all the shapes together already. So let's count up all the planes. This is plane X, this whole foundation, the ground here. That is one plane. Okay, that's one right there, right? I'm going to unhighlight that. Let's do the harder ones here. There's one in the back here, the one that's standing up. I want to get that one out of the way right now. That's 2. We got another one right here, right? It's like a teepee going on. That's 3, right? So 2 and 3. Okay, now let's do what we see in front of us. Okay, that's 1, that's 4. Okay, here's another one. That's 5, right? Hope you guys see what I'm talking about here. And then we got one on the right side here. That's 6, right? 4, 5, and 6. And that's it. How many planes appear in this figure? 6. If you wrote 6, perfect. You got this right. 6. Okay? And I know some of you guys are thinking, well, what about the one on the ground there? What about this guy right here, right? Well, that's already been counted. We counted that with plane X. This whole thing on the ground here, the foundation, that's all part of it. There wasn't a hole in this piece of paper. Okay? That's the ground. That's all part of it. So we don't need to count that guy. All right. Part B. Name 3 points that are collinear. We got to find 3 points that are on the same line. That's what it means, collinear. Okay? So let's count up what we have here. We got a line here. That's a line. I got a line here. So GF, EF. I got a line HG. A line JH. Lines JE. I got this line J all the way up to D. I got D to H here. I got G to D, and I have D to F. Right? I also have D to E. This one in the back. Okay, those are all the lines I have. That's it. And out of those lines that I've highlighted, which one has 3 points on them? Okay, straight lines. All right. So if you wrote this one right here, these 3 points, the one that I just left highlighted, then you are correct. So points J, K, D are 3 points that are collinear. Doesn't matter which order you write them in. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. All right, let's go to part C here. Name the intersection of the plane HDG with plane X. So plane X, this is the foundation. This is the piece of paper right here, right? This is the plane we're talking about. All right, and then we have plane HDG, all right, HDG. I'm gonna highlight that, okay? So it says we have 2 pieces of paper going on here. Where do they intersect? Where do they intersect? So if you wrote this part right here, lines GH, you are correct. Okay? Not points G and H. There's more to it. So lines GH, they intersect. Cool. And on to the last problem. At what point do lines LM and EF intersect? So let's go ahead and highlight that. Line LM is vertical line right here, and EF. Cool. So lines LM, they go on forever. How do we know it? They have these arrows here. It goes on forever. Lines EF, they just stop. There's no arrows through them. Okay? And it looks to me that they never intersect. They have the same plane. They share the same plane of plane X, but there's no intersection here. So the answer here is none. Okay. All right, that's pretty much it. Your part of your homework is to take a photo of these notes and submit them. There's going to be a section on Schoology for you to submit it for 5 points. I just want to see that you guys watched the video and you took notes on it. So easy 5 points if you watched it, took notes, participated with your friends. Your actual physical homework is to do this right here. Okay? You are supposed to make some nice drawings for me if you can. Please, use graph paper. And that's pretty much it.